So I want to ask you
Right.
if you've concluded anything or observed anything about the state of the university's education, because one of the
yeah, I mean,
carry on. Just carry on.
No. One of the
as
things
you are. As yourself,
so
in other words, rather than turning you into a drama at this point, just what you happen to think.
Universities are in a very, very weird, tricky situation because on the one level, those lecturers who there is a side to it where they've actually responded rather well. So my lecturer friends have gone online and they've done all kinds of online lessons, and it's been wonderful. Right. So the teaching side of it has really quite thrived. Being that's particularly true at the MA level. I'm not so sure about it's true. If I was an undergraduate, I'd be pissed off. But at the MA level, which doesn't make, I think that the education is really worked for what it's worth. But of course, the actual universities are screwed with that because all their money, they're not education businesses, they're property businesses, and they're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
And then the undergraduate side of the business is also very difficult because the undergraduates are only there partially to study their subject.
So
they're mostly there to have an experience, and of course that's been a huge problem.
Yeah, they can't.
And there will be a reckoning on that because
you can't charge people money for an experience they're not having.
That's right. They'll have to let the entire year resit, I would have thought, without charging them eventually. They'll protest, they'll do all kinds of things. They're going to have some way of coming back to them, I think. And that will be a problem. And certainly Exeter, I can imagine, will be in difficulty.
Well, I'll just explain that a little bit, or what I happen to know. I think it's all unknown. I've been trying to find out A, what is going on, and B, what the universities mean to do about it. And I would say it's just hidden away. There's very few statements about it. I've just recently discovered there is a consultation going on at Exeter, but they've closed it to staff and students. It appears to be very open. There are YouTube videos, but they're closed. They're hidden away, unlisted. So if you're part of the university, you get shown the link. If you're not part of the university, you can't see the link. But it says we invite all points of view. So they're having some sort of reflection, but they don't want the general population involved in it at all. And I think that means that stuff about student accommodation or the size of the campus or the building program is off limits. They just assume that's going to continue.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yes. I think I mean, universities are, however rude I am about them, they are full of clever people. So they will have worked out that they have to do something.
Right.
I'm sure they will. But I certainly think that kind of old cash cow model is, well, I mean, the problem, of course, Johnson wants to kill it anyway because he wants to kill mass education. So I don't know that, but that would be my suspicion.
Well, yeah, they're certainly very muddled what they're trying to do. They don't want to pay any money for research, or they want to pay as little as possible, but they want to maintain the research base of some kind. So student debt appears to be a way of doing that.
Yeah, that's puts it very well in a nutshell, actually. Well, they're wanting to use universities to have something for free. But of course you can't get anything for free. So what they're doing is they're mortgaging young blood for free.
Oh dear, it's horrible.
But also I don't think it's in Johnson's political DNA. I don't like the word DNA, but I shall use the word blood. In his blood to like mass education. I don't think he likes mass education. So because it doesn't play in his version of the world where there are a certain number of very clever boffins, and everybody else isn't. So there's a tension there, because on one level they need mass education to pay for the research they're not prepared to pay for, and on the other level there's an uncomfortable enough because it means that everybody could be clever, and he certainly doesn't believe that.
No, because have you heard about the 93% club or something, Will?
No.
It's It's really good. Sorry, tell me if it's irrelevant, but I thought it might interest you.
No. Tell me. What is the 93% Club?
Well, it's this woman went to university. She was from a working class background, and sort of like, I think she was from a single parent family and all that sort of thing. And her upbringing was quite disconnected and not super nice. So she threw herself into hard work at school and did really well. And she went to a very good university. I forget which one now. And she was horrified by the fact that most of the other, the clever students, that they were just like, oh, which school did you go to? What club?
We do a song about that.
Yes.
So young man, who did you go by? Harrow, are you an Eton? Yeah, Harrow, are you Eton, or are you by Charles the Wickhams?
Yes.
Oh, please do. Sorry. When I was in Cambridge, I wrote an opera about exactly that.
And it was so hateful, and she was like, and she noticed that when she graduated and her went into a professional kind of like office, that everyone else from any sort of middle class, any kind of working class background, any disturbed background, all pretended that they weren't. And they didn't mention the father that wasn't there, or the fact they were an orphan, or the fact their parents had no money or something. They just glossed over it, changed their accent. And she thought, but the thing is, that's just perpetuating this idea that we can't do anything, that we can't get out of it, and it's not a meritocracy. So she started this thing, which is like a student union club called something like the 97 or 93%, and it's basically for everyone to come who's clever and who's got there, and for them to just support each other and say, doesn't matter what school you went to, it's all fine, we can do this, and somebody from sort of like the privileged classes said to her, sort of like, oh well, that's just the Bullingdon Club for people who didn't go to Eton. And she said, no, it isn't. If you're from Eton, you can join the club. It's about respect. It's about, sort of like giving other people space and acknowledging that people can do things wherever they come from, and that it's not a class thing. It's not about snobbery, or they needed the support because they didn't have all the background and all the money and all the parental privilege that the Bullingdon Club people had and stuff. So it's a good thing, but it's not popular amongst people in the government, I should think. No, but it's gone wide now. It's in many universities now. I think it's got about 10,000 students.
One of the ways Johnson will get resisted.
Well, I'll try and find it. But that would make sense what you're saying. It certainly happened in the States with Trump, and I would think the Republican Party will continue it as well. That they think the academic towns are going to vote Democratic, and they don't really want that. So how they get the research done is just another problem, if it could be from their point of view.